Hello and welcome back to the Physical Challenge podcast. I'm here once again with my co-hosts Joshua and Mehdi. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's beautiful weather outside today, so I'm in a good mood. We just watched a really fun show. Josh, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I have a feeling in this podcast, throughout the episodes we do, that there's going to be a lot of British shows going to get discussed just because the British are very good at doing very wacky and wild things. And this show we're talking about today is a good example of that.
Okay, so I just watched the show this morning, like a couple hours ago, so it's still pretty fresh on my mind. But we're gonna first talk about a little bit about what we've been watching this week, I guess. So I haven't watched that much of anything like related this week. So really, I guess the only thing I really been watching is the challenge because like the challenge like is in their finals right now. Like the final, they oddly enough like split it into three different episodes, which is kind of unheard of for the show. They usually finish it in one or two, but the main thing about like this season's finals that is like supposed to be 100 hours long, but that's kind of a cop out because they've just been, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like a Spartan race. They've just been doing like multiple checkpoints, and I don't know if you guys watched the challenge, but
so on the topic of the challenge, there is something I want to talk about, which is the Challenge UK. So the Challenge UK,
that's good too.
It is going to be a whole 5 episodes long. Each episode is an hour long. This means that the final of the Challenge US is only a half hour shorter than the entirety of the Challenge UK.
Yeah, I've been following the whole stuff about like the World Championship and all the different they like the regional or like the international versions, and yeah, it's just been a whole mess. Like this UK show is supposed to be starting in like a week, and there hasn't been any promotion by Channel 5, no promo, no pics, no anything. So it's just been weird. I know Argentina is supposed to start tomorrow, so but yeah, it's all been very rushed, and of course like the championship is supposed to be in like 3 weeks.
The thing with the challenge, which is weird, is that it's built on the premise that you already know the characters. So just like introducing like even like the UK version, the Argentina version, when they have that World Championships, like how much investment's actually going to be there? Like even there's 5 episodes in the UK. Like how well are we going to like any of these people in 5 episodes? I mean, I don't like any of the people on the Challenge US. I've seen them for like 20 episodes. So it's going to be like it's a weird thing they're trying to do. I get like why they're doing it marketing wise, but I don't know if it doesn't sound like a formula that's going to succeed at all.
It's a terrible idea. The UK version is a hilarious throwaway. It's being aired at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
No one is watching the show at 11 p.m. on Channel 5, which no one cares about Channel 5. The last time people cared about Channel 5 was when Big Brother UK was on air. Yeah. And that was last on air back in 2018. The whole thing is just a disaster. So part of why the Challenge UK is quite short is because the Queen dying happened during the filming of the show. So that kind of threw the whole thing off. But still, you couldn't even squeeze that 6. Champs versus Pros was longer than this.
Yeah.
The spring break challenge was the same length as this. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, the cast is only like 16, so they're only gonna have like they're probably like half the cast is gonna be in the final. There's only so it's like a big mess.
That's the Challenge US too. I mean, we can't complain. The whole cast they have like how many people on the final of the Challenge US? So what is it, like 10 people usually? And like eliminations, like also the US one is not like that well produced anymore as well. They just
you mean like the USA one or
yeah,
like
the challenge, the literal like the
one like the flagship on MTV.
Yeah, it's also like structured horribly. They keep on adding new casts of characters each season that we're not invested into, and then they expect us to like just keep on watching. Like I haven't watched the challenge in years because it's just gone kind of repetitive and I'd say kind of boring in a way. The one thing I'd like to talk about is, do you guys know spoilers for the challenge? Can I talk spoilers for the challenge final?
For which one?
For the not the UK one, for the mainstay one, the US one.
Are you talking about things that have aired or things that have not aired yet?
No, it's aired. It's aired.
Then go ahead.
Yeah, if it's aired, it's fine. Like, I actually, like, I'm pretty sure I'm like spoiled on the winner of the season, and I have been for a while, so it's cool.
Well, I don't know if we've discussed this last episode or not, but the safety issues on these shows are horrid.
Horrific.
Goodness, even for the challenge, the one they did with Aldous Reality Stars, every contestant's been complaining, oh, they didn't protect us, and they showed that they didn't protect them when that Olivia girl, like, she went and she did the ricochet thing, and then that baseball hit her in the nose and her, like, shattered her nose. And I'm like, they should have planned for this. They should have given the mask. They should have given him something. But, like, this woman's, like, face is like permanently, like, altered because she took a baseball to the face because, like, they didn't design a challenge properly, which is the main part of the show. So it's kind of nuts.
Especially for this catapult challenge, because this production team are definitely aware of the Amazing Race Brooke and Claire situation with the watermelon. There's no way they're not. So to do a challenge that resembles that and allowing the same thing to happen with something that's even worse to be hit in the face with than a watermelon, this was a disaster waiting to happen, and it happened.
Yeah, there was a similar, like, challenge about midway through the season, so even, like, with that, I feel like, well, I don't know, maybe they were like, oh, nothing happened with that, so, like, we'll be good with this. Like, there was, I think they had, like, this one they used golf balls. I think somebody said that they used golf balls then as well, like in the mid-season version of this, and that's a common thing with the challenges that, like, they kind of do, like, callbacks to, like, challenges earlier in the season as, like, part of the final. But yeah.
So while we're on this topic, my question for the two of you is then, how would you fix the challenge? Like, what's, like, we don't have to go deep into it, but what's, like, one suggestion you have for how the show can be fixed? Just one, even though there's probably several.
Oh, I definitely have several for, like, the world championship thing. I have, like, so many ideas about how that could have been done, but, like, I'm assuming you mean, like, the main show, right?
Let's say just the franchise as a whole was one thing you would like the show to really fix. If you could change one thing about it, what's top priority?
I think smaller cast. They need a smaller cast. Oh, sorry, Lona, if I was going to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
I think
I need a little bit more time to think anyway.
Because the smaller cast, because they drop these casts and they're so big, and then they'll, like, rush through the season and they'll do, like, a purge. Oh, they'll do something, and then, like, all these characters that we are invested into, we've watched months of the show, watching them on the show, just get eliminated in, like, a purge or something. So, like, I think a smaller casting in general, they need to come up with a bit, like, they kind of rely a lot on past challenges as, like, oh, this was a throwback. Hopefully we'll get old viewers back in. But because, like, if you look at the Challenge All-Stars, they've done that. They've had smaller casts. It's a smaller prize pool, but, like, it's overall a better product. So I just don't understand how, like, the challenge proper is, like, flubbing the bag so bad that, like, they're getting beat by a show that basically airs, like, only on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, you said one thing was months, and that's how, like, I was thinking about it because this guy that covers the challenge that I watch, Angel Cake, I don't know if you guys know him, Angel Cake Entertainment, he was saying that, like, this season of the challenge, the main show, like, started in October, and, like, by the time it ends, it'll be March. So that's, like, a lot of time we're having to invest into this one show that only airs once a week. So you said it's like they rush it. I think they're doing the opposite. Like, I think they're stretching it out as long as they can, because every like, season is at least 20 episodes, and not to mention, like, even after, like, the final ends this week, we still have the reunion's going to be at least probably 2 parts. So yeah, but I think the main thing is the retention rate, because, like, I've only been watching the challenge since I think it was Vendettas, which has been about, like, 5 or 6 seasons. And that's because the Big Brother people came in. I didn't really have any interest in the show until the Big Brother people came in, and, like, I've stuck around since then. But the main problem for me is that, like, they insist on bringing, like, new people in every season. Like Mehdi said, it's a show that's based on, like, relationships and how those evolve throughout the years. But they like, I don't necessarily mind that they want to bring new people in, but they don't, like, give them a chance to do anything. They'll, like, bring in somebody one season and then that's it. They won't, like, give them another chance the next season. And there was a lot of people that they brought in, like with the UK people. There's like a lot of UK stars that they brought in around the time I started watching, and we haven't seen like any of them like in 2 or 3 seasons. So that's my main thing, is that they don't give, even like, not all rookies are created equal, obviously, but my main thing is that there are some good people that are done like 1-2 seasons and then they just forget about them. So my main like thing to fix the show would just be like, give these people that you're like trying to introduce another chance, instead of having it be half each cast be rookies every single season.
See, so my suggestion comes in more of a structural way, is that one man and one woman needs to go home, and I mean home, every single episode of this show, because I don't enjoy watching people being safe on reality television. I think when half the cast is safe in an episode of the show, a show is immediately less engaging. And the formats when anyone can go home in any given week are the most exciting for me. So I think any scenes or any twists that remove the possibility of everyone going home in an episode, that's what the show needs to remove to make every single episode engaging.
I'm assuming you're not a fan of the Redemption House or anything like that.
Not really. Yeah, definitely not. But I think what I find even more egregious is just like when any format that has like guys days and girls days, for me, those are huge no. Like I want someone like both need to be available on the table to go home every single episode.
Okay.
No, I agree with that fully, because it's like, it really like downs the show when they keep on ending on like a cliffhanger. And it's like they like doing this a lot on the challenge rule. They like end in a cliffhanger, like, oh no, who are they gonna pick for elimination? Or you guys could just finish the elimination and not like linger for another 20 minutes in the beginning of the next episode. So like, yeah, they have a show problem. I think they are trying to stretch it out, like Lone, like you were saying, as much as they can. But like, that's what I'm saying. They'll like stretch it out, and then they'll be like, okay, damn, the final's coming. We need to get rid of a bunch of people real quick. It's like, if you space that out, we'd have more investment in the characters. But like, yeah, that's my take on it.
But that's MTV trying to fill some of their programming. But then we've got the other interesting move from MTV. So I don't know if either of you do watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but the Drag Race is a very popular show. Like people, it's one of the few shows on televisions where viewership is going up every single year, which is very rare for network television nowadays. But they made the interesting decision when the show moved to MTV to cut the episodes from 90 minutes to 60 minutes to make space for the Real Friends of WeHo, which is, imagine gay people doing the Real Housewives, but not gay people you actually want to watch on television. Like it was
Wonder Call?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god, that looks horrid. That's such a bad show.
But like, they cut a popular show to make space for that. They cut a popular and now MTV is backtracked to make the decision to put Drag Race episodes longer. Well, I say they've backtracked, but they've agreed to extend them back once the Real Friends is over. And to me, it seems crazy that MTV, a network which, apart from the challenge and this, airs what, Ridiculousness and Catfish 24/7, basically.
Yeah,
it's so literally Ridiculousness. Like there's like an account that like tracks like the programming, and it's literally Ridiculousness like 23 hours a day, and then the challenge on like that one day, and then it just goes right back to Ridiculousness. It's wild.
It's crazy scheduling. So yeah, MTV does very wild things.
Okay, we should. What do you think about guys jumping into the show we're supposed to be talking about today? Josh, you want to set us up?
Oh my god! So today we are talking about Release the Hounds. So I have asked the two guys to watch a specific episode of the show. We're going to talk about that show afterwards. But firstly, just to talk about the concept of Release the Hounds. So this is a British game show. It lasted for a few series, and this was a post-Watershed show. So firstly, do either of you two know what the Watershed is?
No.
I think I have a little bit of an idea.
Give it a guess. I want to hear what you think.
I think I don't know. I think it kind of reminds me of like old like TV standards where they had like, oh, this is the times like that certain shows aired. I don't know. I think that's something to do with it, but
yeah, you're kind of on the right line. So what it means is in the UK, 9 p.m. is considered a cutoff point where the watershed falls. So beyond 9 p.m., swearing is on most channels, swearing is allowed on television. So that's why you would have noticed that contestants can swear on this show, because this airs beyond 9 p.m. And that's why when you see things like Big Brother UK, which there's some Big Brother UK moments we're going to talk about in a future episode, because it has to be talked about. But so that's why the swearing is allowed on the show. This is a post-watershed show. So in each episode, a team of 3 enter the show. Now, this was one of the celebrity seasons of the show from the episode I showed you, but the original few seasons were non-celebrity series. The 3 contestants have to do horror-based challenges. Some of these challenges, think like simple level escape room stuff, or like other crazy things they've got to do. And they do it to receive a distance advantage. After each challenge, they have to pick one of their contestants to compete in a dog run. Now, when we say release the hounds literally get released on them, as they've got to race to a ladder to climb up it before the dogs catch them. And if they can get up the ladder before the dogs catch them, they can keep the cash they have acquired. If they get caught, they lose that money for their team. What were the two of yours initial reactions when you saw what exactly this show was?
So for this show, I had a little bit like background on it. I've seen some clips, and it's a really simple concept, but like I found it enthralling. I found it engaging. Like such a simple concept, but like it's very exhilarating when you're watching. So I was thoroughly surprised how much I liked it for such a simple concept. And I thought this, like, I haven't watched a regular version of this yet, but I thought like it really works well with the celebrities, like maybe because they have like good repertoire with each other. But I found it like really enjoyable, like the banter between each other. What do you think, Lone?
Yeah, I agree. I just like first I saw the intro like to the show, and I was like, "What is Joshua have us watching?" Like I thought this was a game show podcast, not a horror show podcast. But yeah, it was like you said, it's kind of like it's pretty engaging. Like there's always like something new on the screen, like every single time, so that it like keeps you, you're not bored or anything. And like you said, I understand that it did really work with the celebrities. I don't know how about if any like civilians. I know that's like a big thing right now. Is like do all civilian shows work, or like versus with celebrities with the like trader stuff, but. Yeah, it was entertaining. It was very different than a lot of any of the other shows I've seen.
Yeah, so it was a case where I was very intentional in the sense of I didn't really mind which type I showed you. This is in some shows it's distinctly better with or without celebrities. I think this show, it doesn't really matter, because what's important is the fact there's a bond between the 3 players. The show, if you've got a strong, interesting bond between those 3 players, it's great. If there's no bonds there, the show kind of just falls apart, because a lot of the fun in those first couple of challenges is watching the engagement between the players, watching as they're arriving there. If they're not all stressed out together, we don't get that same kind of enjoyment, but seeing how scared they all are is part of the fun of the show. Now, this was the 4th series of the show at this point, so they kind of knew what they were signing up for, but also, even if you know what you're signing up for, like if a dog runs at you, you're going to be scared no matter what. Like even if you're told no matter how safe it is, you're going to be terrified. Do either of the two of you know who these 3 celebrities are? I would not be surprised if you said no. I'd be more surprised if you said yes.
I do not. Oh, sorry, Lone, you want to continue?
Oh no, I was just gonna say not at all. I was literally gonna ask you like, what's Emmerdale? Like talking about the show or whatever that the guys were from.
Emmerdale. So Emmerdale is one. So soaps in the UK, like soap operas, are a big thing. So in the US, I believe they're like a daytime thing, correct?
Yeah.
So here they're like a 7 p.m. kind of show that airs Monday to Friday. So it's similar type of target audience, but it airs in the evening. So there's a lot of people you'll have. I think like my nan is one of those people. My mum used to be one of those people where they'll sit and they'll spend like an hour and a half watching the soaps each evening.
That's interesting because I don't know if I've ever like heard of any soap operas in the UK.
Yeah, so typically whenever you have like your celebrity reality shows, you've normally got at least one from at least one of the soaps. Often you'll have one from the main 3. The main 3 being EastEnders, Coronation Street, and Emmerdale. I think Emmerdale was low-key like the least popular of the three, but it's a thing. Anyway, so we've got 2 stars from Emmerdale, Danny Miller and Adam Thomas, and then Adam's twin brother, Scott Thomas. Scott was on Love Island.
Yeah, I've actually heard of EastEnders and Coronation Street, but I didn't know that they were like soap operas.
Yeah, so these were our 3 contestants. I think of all the celebrity contestants, I think they have less star power than some of the other ones, let's say. But I also think that they're all stars of that network, so that kind of helps them. Like Love Island aired on ITV2, which is the same network as this show, and then Emmerdale was an ITV1 soap. So not huge star power, but there's some overlapping audience, which helps the show.
Yeah, I think that works because you can see like the camaraderie between them, and you can see like the bond. I mean, they're twins. 2 of them are twins, but the other person, they don't really know at all. But like the instant connections that happens, and they've only just met basically. So yeah, I really enjoyed that portion of the show. So let's just get into the structure of the episode. So as they walk in and they got dropped off in the woods, and then you see a dogs barking at them, and I like that little touch where it's like, okay, y'all, this is what you signed up for. Dogs already barking at you. And I also took away that it, like, you guys have watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I know of it. I've never seen it. I tell you now, anytime you ask me, have you seen X film, my answer will almost always be no. My film knowledge is appalling.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I mean, I know what it is.
But that was the kind of vibe it was giving me, like abandoned in the woods, serial killers around. They kind of gave that with even in the first challenge. So we get to the first challenge, and it's an obstacle course. And they're supposed to get to this obstacle course, and you just have like these like kids dressed up. Like I'm assuming these children, they're child actors dressed up, and they're just flinging them with paintballs. And I'm like, wow, they created a little scary scene, but then the paintballs kind of took you out of it. But that seemed like that was a fun little add-in, I thought, with the first challenge. What did you guys think of the first like obstacle course or challenge?
Those kids were like too good at what they were doing. Like there was one scene where like the kid just like looked back at the camera. I was like, wow, like the showmanship. Yes. So did they like? My question was like, each task, like, did they get money for doing each task?
So with the way the show is structured, so the cash, so the £3,000, £6,000, £9,000 prizes, those are set. So that's how much the tasks are worth. But the longer it takes them to grab the key at the end of the task, the less of a head start they have over the hounds. So that gate's is moving closer to the hounds as they're doing the challenge. So the faster they get the key, the more time they'll have ahead of them.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I got like the gate part, but I don't know. Like I saw like they showed like the money chest or whatever, but I just didn't understand like how they actually like got the money, because I know you get like money for basically escaping the hounds, but I didn't know like how else they earned the money. But I think I understand now.
Yeah, so there's a cash prize of £18,000 is the max they can win over the course of the show, which is pretty standard for this type of show, I would say. Over here in the US, this would be like a $50,000 show probably.
I got a quick question for you guys. Just would you guys do this show?
I think so. This is going to lead into a question I'm going to ask shortly as well, because I am. Yes, but there are some conditions on this. And my next question, which it might will refer to some of these conditions. Lone, would you do this?
I don't know, because I'm not like big on horror or that kind of thing. Like you always think like, oh, I'll be okay or whatever, but I don't know. I think I could do it. It just doesn't like appeal to me. It's not like something I would like seek out to do. But like if I had to do it, I think I could like get through. I don't think I would be like the guy Adam, who was like basically like, even the host like called him a scaredy cat or whatever. I don't think I would be that bad, but it's just like you can do it. Like I don't have any interest in doing it.
And Mehdi, would you do this show? Because so my guess would be you'd be very good at the challenges, but can you run fast?
See, I mean, I think I would do it regardless. Like, I mean, I would hope that I could just get like a nice head start in terms of like if we could get like a third, like because around the people that have succeeded in this episode that we've seen is that they're around like above 65 meters. So I think if I can finish the challenges 70 and above, like 70 meters, that would be ideal. And I'd do the show regardless because it just seems like a fun time. But otherwise, I don't see like anything stopping me from doing it. What about you, Josh?
So this leads. I'm going to ask my next question here because it kind of leads into this. So the question I want to ask is: so going a bit into the format of the show, after each challenge, they have to pick someone that's going to lead them and do the dog run. So for me, my stipulation is that I'm not being the last person to run. I will run first. Ideally, I run second. I'm not running last because I'm not doing a challenge by myself. So I would do it, but that would be key for me. So if the two of you won this show, would you want to go first, second, or third?
I'd probably
to do the dog run. You mean?
Yes. Because the longer you wait to the dog run, the more of these scary challenges you've got to do. And if you go last, you've got to do a challenge by yourself.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I'd say first, like just to get it over with, honestly, and whatever happens, happens. Like,
see, my problem is it's not that I'd be scared per se. It's just I feel like if I'm doing a challenge by myself, I feel like I'm putting the onus on myself to succeed, and if I don't have someone to work off, that's going to be hard to finish the challenge. So I might have like a 25-meter lead against the dogs. I'm definitely not getting to the ladder then. So I would probably want to go first or second there.
Yeah, I also think going first would be okay for me because I don't feel like I would be that good at the running part. So it's kind of just like, oh, let me just get it over with, and I'll do whatever I can do, and then like depend on maybe like my other two stronger people like to maybe carry them back and like win more money in the long run.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the run. The first run is the least valuable, so it makes sense if you're not a good runner. I am quite very fast. My endurance isn't very good, but like in a sprint, I can do well. So this type of running would be good for me. But it's just doing a challenge by myself. I don't think I'd do very well. But I think a 2-person challenge would be good for me. These 3-person challenges, whenever I'm doing like these team like escape roomy kinds of tests, I think teams of 2 are perfect size. As I say it's on the podcast, 3 people. But I think when it comes to challenges, like being with just 2 people would be really solid. If we was a team of 3, what order do you think we would be running?
So I'm assuming I'm not the fastest right now, so I'd kind of want to go I would want to go first if we're gonna do the running because it's the least amount of money. And if I got a question about the format of the show. So as we saw after the first challenge, he got offered an extra $2,000 to remove the line. Do you think does that happen in like every episode of the show, or do they change it, or like how's that work?
So in the original run of the show, this was not a thing. But then as the show went on, they started adding temptations. There's normally one of 2 temptations. And there's normally one in episode, roughly. Normally, the 2 types of temptations are either we will accept this money to move the gate back. The other temptation is there's money dangling, which you can jump up and grab as you're running. And if you grab it, you can keep it. The problem that we saw once there is that someone in an episode grabbed the money and then they fell as they grabbed the money.
Yeah, well, you're jumping at speeds and then you're not gonna land properly. So I get that because that's what screwed him over. If we're gonna let's just get to the run as we're here. Like if he didn't move it, he would have made it. If he didn't accept that extra $2,000. So like if that's already built within the structure of the game, wouldn't you always be incentivized not to take it just so you can make it and then you make that extra money regardless? Because like they lost out on that $3,000 because he did the extra 5 meters.
Yeah, it's a hard choice. I think but I do think it depends when you offer the temptation. If you're tempting the first run, it's only a 3K run. It's a bit more tempting compared to normally this only happens in the first or second run. It's rare for it to happen in the third. Because if it was in the third run, you'd be like an extra 2K on top of 9. No, thank you. The temptations are also sometimes worth more. Sometimes it's worth 5,000. I don't think I'd take on an extra $2,000, but an extra 5, I'd be tempted there.
What do you think, Lone?
I'm sorry, I kind of just zoned out. So what was the question exactly?
We're talking about we're talking about the risk. You know how in the first person that went to run, he moved it 5 meters back for an extra $2,000, and that actually ended up being the difference. So We were just talking about whether that was.
Yeah, I think like of course hindsight is 2020, but I don't know. I think he really thought that like he could do it, but I mean, I kind of sometimes like I'm the kind of person who like I just want to be safe and like do it the way it's set out and not try to like game it or anything like that. So if it was me, I probably would have just kept it the way it was, and obviously we saw that like it was close enough to where he probably would have accomplished it. But yeah, I would just keep it the way it was, not try to like raise the stakes.
So I got another little add-on to this. Okay, so I don't know what type of dogs they're using per se to chase the people, but what do you guys think about like if they like change the type of dog they did like each show? Because like they're all intimidating, but like if a bunch of Chihuahuas are running after me, I'm gonna be way less intimidated.
I don't know if release the Chihuahuas has the same ring to it, but
that release it. So if they ever do like it, so in the UK, so you've got ITV and there's also CITV, which is the children's network. If they want to do a children's version of the show, I think Release the Chihuahuas is a perfect.
They're vicious. They'll go. The thing with the Chihuahuas is they're small, but they're vicious. So enough of them are going to get you eventually. But yeah, I just thought that'd be funny. A funny little take on if they just switch the dog breeds. But
I'd be very here for it.
Okay. Who was Josh? You mind asking? So like about the people, the actors that are in this. Like I know you. You know of the shows, but do we know anything like that they've done on their previous shows that would like increase the watch value if I had watched their shows beforehand?
So this is not their only stint on scary shows. So Scott was on Love Island. Nothing that notable. I think of the three, Scott is the only one where you just look and just think has done nothing of interest. So Danny was on
didn't they say one of them was on I Am a Celebrity?
Yeah, so Danny was on a reality I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here.
Yeah.
So I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here this happened after, but it's a scary show where celebrities they go and do weird tasks to try and stay in the game. And then so Adam Thomas, I believe I remember correctly, also did I'm a Celebrity. They did I'm a Celebrity in different years. Yes, I had to check. So I always get Adam Thomas and Ryan Thomas confused because Ryan Thomas was the one that was in Big Brother UK during the whole Roxanne Pallett situation.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah,
that's the interest. That's the one with an interesting background. Adam Thomas is not.
Yeah, because I went in and not knowing like because apparently like you also didn't know like that meant like I didn't know it was gonna be a celebrity version of the show, and then when I met them, I'm like, oh. Like I might get added value if I knew who they were more. But I got a quick question as well, Josh. How popular is this show in the UK? Like, is this fairly popular? Just a niche show?
It's a show that for the 4 series it had, so it finished in 2018. It went from 2013, 2018. It did well for the time it was on. Like it wasn't a smash hit, but it was a show that did well. Like it was a show that the fans of it really enjoyed it. Like it wasn't something just people just putting on for the background noise. People really liked it. And it got like a US version did get considered, but never went ahead, which I think is crazy. I think where I think this would do so well. A Netflix version of Release the House would do so well.
I feel like that if they are going to do it in the US, I feel like Netflix would be the right medium to throw it in.
I was going to say Discovery Channel.
You could do that as Discovery Plus. Do they do bingeables? Is that also a streaming network, right?
Yeah. It started like Discovery Plus started out of like Discovery Channel, which was like, like animals, documentaries, that kind of thing. So I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it would do well on that. But yeah, I did see I was doing a little research and I did see about like the different versions, but I couldn't like find that much information on them. I saw that like, they started like one season in one place and then they made like a hub where they get like, that's a common thing like with US, UK shows, like where they just like use one place and they just like swap the contestants out. So I saw that they did that kind of thing. But yeah, I didn't think there had been like an actual US version because I had never heard of it or anything.
I think that there are some shows that had like similar vibes, but never quite the same thing. Like I know that there was a GSN game show called Elevator, which had like some similar vibes to Release the Hounds, but it wasn't quite it.
Yeah, I also like when I was just like Googling, I saw that like there was another show called like 101 Ways to Leave a Game Show, which I've heard, and I think they had like a Release the Hounds like mini game or whatever. I've heard of that show as being like a Japanese game show, but I didn't know that there was like a UK version of it. Or I think it was a US. I think this one was a US one that was like on ABC or something, but I had never heard of like a US adaptation of that show. Yeah. So it obviously had like some, lasting impact.
The US version of that show was drastically different than the UK one. The UK one was played in Argentina on some like terrible little tower, and the US one was on a much grander scale.
Great.
I think this show works at Netflix because it's gimmicky enough where like it reminds me of a show such as like The Floor is Lava, where it's really easy to integrate like C-list celebrities or even Netflix stars into it, where they could prop up their other series as well as promote this new show. So I think like if you're right, if we're gonna throw this show into some network or some streaming service, Netflix probably would be the call.
And even some of like the civilian versions of it, Netflix could even just buy the rights to a couple of the UK episodes and put it up and just see, are people vibing with this?
There are civilian versions of the show, right?
Yeah, like the first 2 or 3 series were entirely. There's more civilian versions than celebrity episodes that were produced, and with the civilian versions, it'd be 3 people that had some type of bond. So the contestants knowing each other is a staple of the format. So it was never 3 strangers, which I think is very crucial. I think 3 strangers being there, this show would not work.
Yeah, I think one of like the descriptions I found of the show was like 3 friends, like do this. So I was like, oh, this must be like a civilian thing normally.
And some of the challenges they got here were quite tame compared to some of the other challenges they've done. Like I know there's some like there wasn't anything too gross they had to do. I know like I was watching on YouTube some of the previous challenges. I forgot about some of these. Like there was one challenge where they had to get a key. The puzzle was they had to get a key to the top of a tube, and they had to suck, I think it was rat urine out of a pipe in order to spit it into the tube to be able to.
They had to do what?
They had so there was a tube with I think it was rat urine, which they had to suck out of a tube and spit into another tube to float a key to the top to retrieve.
Okay.
Oh my god, this is giving.
I just want to know like what kind of person like comes up with shows like this, like deranged people.
If you think there's some British stuff we need to show you, because if you think that was bad, the UK pulls the most out, and it's fabulous, and it's why we love British television.
Just another question for you guys. How do you guys think we could improve this show? Like what areas of improvement do you think like the show would? Like one thing I brought up, I think it's like while I enjoyed some of the challenges, my main interest was the dog. Like I just want to see the dogs chasing after the people.
The stars of the show, the dogs.
Yeah, I wanted to see. The host was. I thought the host was pretty funny. Like I also.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say, I don't know if like Josh knows anything else about the host, but I thought he was like pretty good. He was snarky, like just enough snarky, but like he kind of like played off the contestants. I really liked him. I don't know if you know anything else more about him.
So Release the Hounds had 2 hosts over its history. So the first host of Release the Hounds, it was not the host that you saw, was a guy called Reggie Yates. So Reggie Yates is someone that I'm very familiar with the work of him. He's done as his life has moved on, he's gone a lot into like the documentary side of things. He does a lot of BBC documentaries, but he did a decent amount of children's television when I was younger, so I've been familiar with him for years. He was in Doctor Who for a little bit. He was the host of The Voice for a bit, and hosted a couple other shows as well. But all this information, which isn't too relevant because that's not the host you saw. So the host that you saw was a guy called Matt Edmondson. So Matt Edmondson, he's hosted like a couple of like panel show things. Like he hosted a show called Fake Reaction. He's hosted a couple other things as well. And so done some radio work as well. So he's known for like that kind of thing. So this was not like unfamiliar territory for him when it comes to presenting. It's just this type of like horror-based show was new for him, but also the kind of vibe and personality he brought to the show is very similar to how he always is.
Yeah, he's really. I don't know. I got another question about that. It's like the host usually in UK shows like this. Are they like? Because he worked a lot on the puns, and I enjoyed every pun he was making. But like,
Yeah.
Is hosting usually like? Do they have to be punny or have that sort of like dry humor personality?
This is because this is so. He's a host. Like, it's very just British humor as a whole. He has. So like this is very much like when you watch like British shows, especially a show like this is the type of vibe you're going to typically get from your hosts. Like British hosts they're a bit meaner than US hosts, but like not in an actual mean way, in a just very like snarky, sarcastic way. And will definitely tease their contestants in a much more clever manner than US hosts.
Yeah, I was imagining like how like if this show did release in the US or in North America in general, I was wondering how that translate. Like you would have to get a host that has a similar vibe, but our humor is different than the humor in the UK. So like I was also wondering, is the vibe going to be the same, or if we took this to North America, are they going to try making this more of a serious type show, which I really don't think is going to work if they bring it over.
It would either be too serious or you'd get a host that's too supportive. Like Americans tend to like the host being on the contestant side. We're here in the UK. We kind of sometimes like the host kind of being against the players sometimes. Not against them. Like the host wants them to succeed, but he's going to take the mick out of them as well. Yeah, so this was Release the Hounds. It is I think if you as an audience member listening to this right now, if you've not watched Release the Hounds, you should go and watch Release the Hounds. These people are doing scary challenges. We're watching three people get chased by dogs throughout the episode. It is just absolutely great.
And I'll link the episode that we watched, as well as I found a YouTube channel that has clips, so I'll link both of those in the description of the podcast.
Yeah, I think let's get some overall thoughts on like this, just the final overall thoughts on this episode, and if you'd recommend this to others other than the like. Do you think this show's easily like watchable for someone that doesn't watch this sort of TV? Like, will this attract other viewers?
I think if you can, it's kind of like not for people that are like jumpy or like kind of, you know. I mean, like when I first saw the intro, it kind of like I was like, am I really gonna watch this? But like, it's not that bad. It's not like a horror movie. It's just some like of the individual tasks and challenges are kind of, I don't know. They're different. Like the show is different. I'll just say that. But like I enjoyed it. It was fun to me. Like I said earlier, it was like pretty. The pacing was good, like from the beginning. So yeah, I would recommend it to other people to watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm definitely gonna check it out way more because the first episode we watched kind of like dragged me in, and I kind of want to see what they do with the different temptations and at different places and how that changes how the contestants react or act around each other. And but otherwise, I thought it was a really good show, really good. I thought the cast was pretty good of three people they picked. Josh, this is a great recommendation. Thanks for recommending the show to be the first to watch.
When it comes to shows, there are lots of shows I recommend people to watch. And there are some shows I'm just like, I enjoy it, but I don't know if others will. And there are some shows I'm like, this is a really good show. I know people will like. Most shows fall into the former, but this is definitely one of the latter shows. This is a show where even if you're not a huge fan of the horror genre, because I'm the type of person that doesn't love the horror genre, this show, I think everyone should give the show at least one episode. I think after one episode, you can clearly tell if you'll like the show or not. It's not something you'd have to sit and watch several times. You'll be able to tell after like the first full round of the show, you'll be able to tell if you're interested. I think you should watch an episode at least until after the first dog run. And I think after that point, you're not interested. That's the point where you should be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, you get the format down once, and what is that, like 15 minutes into the first episode? So like, it's not a big time investment. It's a fun show. It's easy to watch. You can put it on. It's not a show you have to like have all your attention to. So like, I'd recommend it to anyone wanting to watch some fun. I think it's a great like intro show into like those type of UK type shows, because there's a lot of gold when it comes to those UK type shows, and a lot of people don't like delve upon like like except for their niche in North America, they'll only watch like shows around here. But like once you go out overseas, you'll see there's so many different like cool concept shows. So like I feel like it's a good intro for people that would like to get into watching different types of TV.
Yeah, another thing I feel like even though it has like kind of a basic format, I feel like it's really dependent on the contestants. So like I have obviously just seen this one episode, but I feel like no two episodes will probably be the same just because of like the personalities and how each person like attacks like the game like the way with their own strategy. So yeah.
Yeah, the producers are very good at who they cast. They are good at casting people that are always going to have reactions. They don't cast people that aren't going to react to things. They cast people that have good reactions, things are exciting, and have good relationships and engagement with each other. It's very well made. The casting team does a very good job with it. This is a show that lives and dies with its cast. Like the challenges can be great, but if the cast is boring, the contestants giving you nothing, there's nothing to work with here. The host can't carry this like they can with some other shows. So yeah, the casting is I would say always as solid, if not more solid than this. I think this is one of the less interesting groups of people to do this show for me. Like just because I don't find these three men particularly interesting. Like there are better groups than this. So if you thought this was good, there's better to come.
So I was just thinking, it's like because when they usually move a show from a different country to North America, they change the name sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of dumb of me, but I'm like, are they gonna name the American show "Who Let the Dogs Out"?
Oh my goodness, they actually would. Oh my goodness.
It's funny you say that because like that was what I was gonna name the title of this episode.
Who let the dogs out? That's they would do that because they're gonna be like, we don't want to, like they want to associate, but they want to be different. So they're gonna probably do that, and then like they'll probably get the copyright to that song. Why not?
Oh my God.
Oh, they would camp this show up far too much. It would all be in the daytime. Like the last dog run would be in the nighttime, but all the challenges would be in the daytime. Actually, they'd probably make the show seem like it's been across 3 days, and all the challenges would be daytime, the dog runs be nighttime. It'd be, oh my goodness. Every time I think about what they would do to the show, it actually bothers me now.
It is upsetting, but I still would like to see them bring some sort of show like that here. I don't know what we have planned, but what do you guys want to talk about next week? If you guys got any suggestions or not?
I mean, I would do this. I will always have suggestions for you. But do the two of you have any shows that you think are really important to speak about?
Mehdi, do you have anything?
So I've seen this show on Netflix within the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called The Physical 100.
Yeah, right. I have.
So
I haven't seen it, but it's on my list. Sorry.
My suggestion for Physical 100 is we speak about it not next week, but the week after, because by that point, the whole show will be finished.
I thought. They didn't. I don't know enough about it to say. I just saw it on Netflix. I don't know if that had dropped.
It's a really good show. My suggestion is make a dent in it, and I think in 2 weeks' time, that's what we need to speak about, because I'm curious to hear what the two of you think about this show, because I've heard very mixed reviews on it. I'm very much enjoying it, but other people have not been. So I think in a couple of weeks' time, that's what we should speak about. I think for this week, I think there's another British show that I'm interested to see your thoughts on. This is a more reality. This was an old reality show, and I'm interested to see what the two of you think about it. This is one of the shows I mentioned back when I did this reality TV thread. So my suggestion for next week is a show called Shattered. Have either of you heard of it?
Not at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen a couple of this from the mini days. Somebody recommended it, and like we watched it. I think on part of a Podquester thing. They did like a watch party or something.
I think it'll be a good discussion point. Mehdi, based on the name, do you have any guesses what this show could be about?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Even looking it up, I can't find anything about it. So I don't know. I was thinking something to do with breaking things, or
they break these people's spirit.
Oh, is it okay? So it's a game show, correct?
Yeah, it's a game show.
So is it like, do they have to do some sort of challenge, and then they know that they're absolutely garbage at it, and then their hopes get crushed, or is it one where? Oh, sorry.
So, did you watch the Netflix show Awake, when they had to stay awake for 24 hours?
No, I didn't watch that one either. That sounds good.
So imagine that, but these people don't sleep for like a week.
That's what I thought it was. I didn't remember exactly, but I figured.
So, very basic premise. We'll have a bit more chat about it. These people live in a house for a week, and they are given, I think it's 15 minutes of sleep every 6 hours for a week.
15 minutes?
Every 6 hours.
Oh, who signs up for this? What is it?
Welcome to reality television back in, I think, 2004 it was?
I'm looking. I just looked up briefly. What is this show? It sounds wild to me, to be honest, but I'm excited to. They don't even win that much money.
I think this is a show that, based on your initial reaction to it, right? Next week, tune in to see us talking about Shattered, because you will read about this show and it will seem crazy, but then you'll actually watch how these people get. I think my recommendation for Shattered is going to be that I'll pick one episode in the series for you to watch. Or what I might do is I will give you the first episode to watch and then an episode partway through the series, so you can see what these people are like at the beginning and then see what they're like partway through.
I like the second suggestion better because we can see the progression of these people.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd want to do the beginning and then the end. I think the beginning and some like point in the middle.
Yes, what's the beginning and partway through the middle.
And then you could just tell us if we aren't that invested, because we might just be invested enough and I might just watch the whole series. It's only around 7 episodes anyways.
Exactly. So I'm going to pick episode 1 and then I'll have a think. It'll be an episode around like episode 4 or 5, so you can get an idea of, I'll have a look through to see when I think is a really good point in the show, and you can see just what they put these three people through. This show is... I love it so much. I've watched this show several times.
Okay, now wait. Now I wanted to. We're probably going to talk about it next week. But imagine putting this in North America. Like it'd be done within a day. I think people would crumble within a day.
I mean, there's been shows like that, like Cram, and
but how long?
They deprive them of some.
Yeah, there's been a lot of 24-hour shows, and then the UK was like, that's not enough.
Yeah, but like 24 hours is different than a whole week. Like, oh my, like a whole week is like you're gonna be discombobulated for a month afterwards. You lose sleep now, you're messed up for the next 2-3 days. So if you lose sleep every day, you're gonna be messed up for like a month.
I am deeply looking forward to talk about this show. So we've got our plan for the next 2 weeks. So tune in next week to hear us talk about Shattered, and then the full week afterwards we'll be talking all things Physical 100. Physical 100 is currently on Netflix, and the first 6 of 9 episodes are currently out, and there are 3 more left to come. Mehdi and Lone, do the two of you have anything to plug before we head off?
Well, just an update. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this, but we did get a trailer and a date for BB Can. You guys have any quick thoughts on that?
Was it a trailer though? Like, didn't
they give us... know what I mean. What they always do.
They gave us like, didn't they write like, I think I just saw something Arissa wrote hype on, I don't know if it was on Instagram or Twitter. And I'm like, that could mean anything. That could mean, the show's back. But like, I need a confirmation at this point that it's All Stars. They keep on teasing me and I don't appreciate it anymore.
It has to be, surely.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully they draw it is supposed to be premiering in March, right? Well, March.
It's March 8th, the week after Survivor 44 premieres.
Okay, so whenever the cast drops, we can do a brief thing about what we think about the cast and stuff. Hopefully when it drops. Hopefully it's next week, because honestly, I really just want to know who's like something about what it's going to be, even if it's just confirming it's All Stars, so we could at least speculate a bit about who could be on the show.
They're going to give us no time to speculate, and I get it. I still find it funny the Big Brother when they just casually dropped the cast and gave us like 24 hours to get to see the people.
Well, they don't want people to get canceled. Remember, that happened a couple times. Even on BB Can, that guy got canceled.
Oh, that was funny. That was very funny.
A week before, and then he got put up. Another dude came in, so I was like, they're leaving it the least amount of time. So they're like, okay, we effed up casting, but we're not going to let them complain about it.
Stan Twitter being able to do production's job better than production every year will always make me laugh.
Well, we'll just continue the plugs. You guys can follow me at Aljabiri23 on Twitter. How about you, Lone?
You can follow me at Lone Ranger 158. You can also follow the podcast at Physical Child Pod. We're now available on all major platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Podbean, and more. So if you search us up in your podcast feed of choice, you can probably find us there now. And you could also, I know on Anchor, I believe you can leave voice messages so if you have any questions or if you want to submit questions to the podcast, you can do that there or on Twitter. Yeah, we'll be back next week with Shattered.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.